Hey guys, it's Ravenhawk6910 reporting once again. So, it's been a long time since I've done something like this, but welcome back to my layout. So for 2014, I've decided to start doing blog videos. Just about maybe just a monthly update of what's going on the layout. Just for fun. I haven't really done anything like this before, so we'll just see how it goes. So, got a lot of stuff to cover, so let's just jump right into it. One of the first things I wanted to talk about, I haven't really talked about this much since my last couple of videos, but if you notice when my video of the Spirit of Conrail unit, the unit was sitting up against this station. This is the Walt Disney World Main Street USA train station that is offered at the Walt Disney store whenever you go down there. Now, if you remember, I've had the Walt Disney monorail for a couple of years now, ever since I went to Disney back in high school, but I didn't have money for the station at the time. It was like 60 or 70 bucks. So I just kind of left it, even though it was HO scale. Well, a few months ago, I found this station in kit form, complete, at the Goodwill store in Oakwood, Georgia. Just by sheer chance, I found it for $4. So that's a heck of a lot better than paying 70 bucks for this kit. So I brought it home, put it together, and it has been here ever since. So it's a really nice station. Wasn't too difficult to put together, and really just any kind of train you put up against it, it looks nice. I'm really happy with this thing. Another building that I've picked up recently in the past few months is this custom-done furniture building. This is the Heritage Furniture Plant. This building was custom-made by one of the guys down at Trainmaster Models for their HO scale layout originally. You've seen it in a couple of my other videos on YouTube. And for some reason, this building and a bunch of others were on sale, so I picked this building up for $25. And it's really nice. It's really nice to have a good, solid industry on my layout. Even though my layout's not really much, it is nice to have some variety to it. The only problem is it's very top-heavy because the loading bays are so low, and as you can see, it's actually not high enough right now. I actually have to have it up on shims to make it high enough to get above the track, so that way I can run box cars under it. But right now, I just have it just kind of sitting there. And behind it, there's actually an old hammer that I don't use anymore that's kind of sitting in the back of it, holding it up, keeping it from falling over, because normally this thing can't even support its weight. So that kind of sucks, but it still looks really nice when you get it up on the layout, and it really helps to hide the monorail track a little bit as it kind of disappears back into the wall back there. So that's another thing I've picked up recently, and another good purchase. A new piece of rolling stock I got recently for the layout is this Norfolk Southern bay window caboose. I got this in a trade with a friend of mine from Arizona, and really, really nice caboose. It's a little beat up around the handrails, but, you know, that's kind of typical. So, but this is a really nice caboose, and this is the one that you can get in the Athearn starter sets. So it's not normally available by itself unless you go on eBay and look for it. So I'm glad I got this caboose. So, you know, now I got 3 of them along with my Southern bay window and my NS caboose that I got with my first starter set. So got that recently. So this is another bigger item that I picked up recently. This is a Walther's Milwaukee Road Superdome painted in the Chessie System Steam Special paint scheme. So for those of you that don't know, Chessie System back in the late 70s and early 80s did steam excursions, usually with Reading Railroad 2101 and later with Chesapeake and Ohio 614, and this was the scheme that they applied to the passenger cars. And the Superdome was introduced later on as sort of an extra car. It didn't really last long in the fleet, and I think, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this car might be the one that is running with Milwaukee Road 261 now, that's been fully restored to its Hiawatha appearance. But anyways, I picked up this car, and really nice. This was an eBay purchase. I don't normally purchase passenger cars, but I did need a couple more for my excursion train. So the only thing that kind of sucks is I really can't get this thing around my curbs. So right now it's just kind of sitting here looking pretty. So, but you know, I'm still glad I got it, and it's a very nice car. I actually like the Milwaukee Road Superdomes a little better than I do the Santa Fe style Superdomes, which you typically see out there in the market with the Bachmans and a couple other companies that put out Superdomes. That's the typical design that you see. A couple other pieces of rolling stock I got were these two well cars and containers. The one on the right, this one's from Concours, and it has a Norfolk Southern Triple Crown container. And the one on the left is actually a limited edition Athearn John Deere container that a friend of mine found and gave to me. So, normally I'm not into like this kind of fantasy schemes and collector items and stuff, but this was neat. So, and I'm looking to expand my intermodal train. So, you know, a couple more cars, you know, it won't hurt me at all. And one odd container in there doesn't hurt it at all. So, overall, I'm really happy with these. The next item I got recently was something I've been wanting to get for a while now. This is Norfolk Southern 1030, which is the 30th anniversary SD70 ACE that was on display at the Norfolk Southern Heritage Unit event in Spencer, North Carolina. As you can see, the model has the special 1982-2012 number boards positioned in it. This is an Athearn Genesis version of the 1030, and this is a very nice locomotive. The details, you know, the kind of the extra stuff there, like the extra braking plug-ins right there. On the sides, they have the Northeast Corridor lights, the special NS antenna arrangement on the roof. The sides of the engine are correct to that of the modern version of the SD70 ACE. I say modern, current version. And just all around, it's a really nice model. I mean, it has the thin plastic handrails, which Athearn is notorious for these days, but you know, that doesn't bother me too much, as long as it doesn't break. Now I've probably just screwed myself. But anyways, this was a Christmas gift from a friend of mine, which will remain nameless. And you know, just really glad he thought about me enough to give me this thing. I mean, this is a very, very expensive locomotive. It doesn't have sound. It's just straight DC. I will eventually put a decoder into it when I upgrade to DCC at some point. But for now, this is as far as it's going to go. And I really, really love this engine. Moving on, the next thing I want to show is some projects that I've been working on recently. A couple of them have already been shown in a couple of videos, and a couple of them have been newer ones. So, starting off right here, these two engines, this C40-9W and this SD40-2, these were featured in a video that I uploaded on Thanksgiving. The SD40-2 is almost complete. This is one of the ex-Burlington Northern units that I've done, and then the -9 is getting close to being done. I actually moved the headlight to the correct location and did the modifications to the new number boards and the headlight. And I've got most of the decals on. I don't have any of the logos or the striping yet because I don't have those in yet. But I'll show you a little close-up here of the cab. Right up front here, you can see the cab where I had to modify the nose to splice in the new headlight and the new number boards, as well as cover up the old headlight. It's a little rough. This is the first time I've ever done something like this, but for the most part, it looks pretty good. I've gotten some pretty positive responses about this. So as soon as I get the decals on this thing and get a motor into this thing will be ready to roll. Next locomotive that's being worked on right now is this Railpower C32-8. Now, this engine was featured in my Christmas video with my Toys for Tots train. You'll see it in this picture right here. And when I first got it, it was a CSX unit, as you can see. It was supposed to represent a C39-8, but it didn't pull it off very well. I mean, you could tell it was a C32. So I've stripped the paint. I've gotten just about everything ready for it to be painted, and this unit is going to become a Conrail Ballast Express unit. Now, you may recall in a video that I shot back in 2012, I had another C32 that I was working on back then. But that one really just kind of went in the toilet because I didn't do it right, and I cut the shell wrong, and the frame didn't fit, and it was a mess. So this engine's pretty much complete, and I'm just redoing it basically. So this is going to be kind of redemption, and I'll finally have a working C32 in my fleet. So it'll be really great once it's finished. Next engine that's been a victim of the workbench is this slug, and I've actually had this slug ever since I started HO scale, but I went in and took a few parts off of it and changed it around a little bit, stripped it and repainted it to look more like a Norfolk Southern slug. So this is a representation of NS880, which is one of the slugs that I believe works in Chattanooga. It might work in Roanoke or Atlanta, I'm not sure. But this is not an accurate representation of the 880. The real 880 was built out of an SD40, and this is just kind of a rough guess, really, about how close I could get it. But for what it is, it looks good. I mean, you know, as long as it suits my needs, that's all that matters. You can actually see under here, I actually had to mill off the entire fuel tank. I'll show you a picture right now of what it used to look like. So you can see it was more like a mate with a dynamic brake section than a slug. So I went in, I removed the dynamic brake section, and I used a mill to just cut the entire fuel tank off down to the frame. There's a little bit of overhang left, but that's just because I didn't want to cut any more into the frame. And I need to get a front coupler for it there, as you can see. But for the most part, this thing's finished and it looks good. So another engine that I've been working on, and really this isn't a new one. I've had this engine for a long time. I actually got this engine back in 2012, and I showed it in one of my other layout videos. So it looked like this when I last showed it. So as you can see, it was just a plain, basic white SD40-2, and someone had already gone in and added the high hood to it. So this has just kind of been a touch-and-go process for me with this locomotive, just kind of working on it when I've had the time. And I really need to get some more safety labels because this unit has actually eaten up a good chunk of mine. And this side is complete, the other side is not. Once I get the other side finished, and I need to do some touch-up paint on this thing, clean a little bit of the dust off of it, and add the rear number boards to it. And once that's done, and I get a few detail parts on it, I'll be able to hit it with a dull coat, and it'll be able to come out here and run on the layout on a regular basis. So, and then I'll have two high hoods. Originally, I was going to do this as a Norfolk and Western high hood, but it didn't work out that way. The details weren't right on it, and so it just ended up being one of the ex-Southern Railway high hoods. And ironically enough, while I was working on this one, I learned that this one got the new NS Admiral cab and lost its high hood. So this is an older representation of the 3277 when it still had the Horsehead logo and its high hood. So But this engine's getting close to finished, and hopefully it'll be done maybe by summer. Maybe I'll have this thing finished. I've got a lot of engines I'm working on right now, and so, but, you know, baby steps, and it'll be finished, and when it does, it'll look great. One last thing I wanted to show here before I let you guys go. I got these shelves installed around the layout recently to display my trains. My grandpa built these for me before he went into the hospital, and they're all based on this one right here on the other side. This first one here, he actually built this one for me when I was a kid, and so we just went in and made basic copies of these. These two on the bigger walls here are longer. This one's 50 inches, and these two smaller ones are 30 inches, I believe. And there's enough room for 4 shelves. And I got my entire coal train up there, so there's, you know, room for 6 hoppers on each shelf. So that's kind of cool. And you know, normally I display locomotives up there and stuff, but it still looks kind of neat to display freight cars and other equipment as well. And there's some of my steam engines and my couple of my diesels and my crane. All in all, pretty good product. So that's just about it for right now, guys. So keep you informed next month about what's going on, and hopefully we can continue this blog series all the way through next year. So until next time, this is Ravenhawk 6910 signing off.